Mother speaks.
Hi Gemini, Taurus, Moon sign people. Welcome to your April 5th Pisces new moon reading. This is Pisces for your Vedic moon sign. You want to check the links below and make sure that you are not also Gemini in your Vedic moon sign. We're moving more into just looking at the Vedic moon signs because in my work with Mama Drama Trauma, I'm noticing, and basically I've been noticing, but confirmation that the healing is really happening working with the Vedic signs. And for you, this energy for this new moon is 11th house energy. And so this has a lot to do with your hopes. It has to do with your dreams for your life, your associations that make those dreams come true, that you've built over a period of time. And this is really working with the fact that Mars is in your first lunar house. All these readings are based on your first lunar house, and that is Taurus, Gemini in the Western. Now, again, not so much about the Western, but we're looking at moon yogas with Vedic lunar astrology. Healing Mama Drama Trauma, condition in which the mother projects unhealed aspects of herself onto her child, causing emotional and or physical trauma, is healed through connecting to the mother of all mothers. The mother of all mothers is that still small voice within, our intuition, our highest selves. It is the voice of our soul. Now, in Vedic astrology, the sun is the soul. So the sun sign is that soul personality. The moon is how it feels. It is the repository of its memories over many lifetimes. The soul knows its karma. It also transmits and communicates back and forth through that physical life of the ascendant, that ego life, the emotions. And so the moon is a satellite transmitter. Essentially, the first satellite before the human mind created satellites, the moon. So Great Mother, the mother of all mothers, is the true transmitter of our emotional and our intuitional experience in this physical body. We associate that with our physical mother until we connect with Great Mother, which is why we do that in healing Mama Drama Trauma. You cannot heal from it if you are still connected to the guilt, blame, and shame that perpetuates it. So working with the Great Mother Speaks Oracle deck and with my inner work coaching at greatmotherspeaks.info, we learn how to grieve the mother that we want in order to accept the one that we have. New moon readings have to do with being able to clearly see what you have learned over the previous lunar cycle in terms of the lessons of MDT. MDT is a soul contract between two souls, and so the lessons always occur. It's a lifetime of healing, but they're always occurring in two areas: our area of evolving in self-love and of evolving in spiritual independence. That, again, personal connection to our inner soul selves, the truth of who we are, as opposed to projecting that reality of who we are, what we feel, onto others, first and foremost, our wounded mother. Okay? So those wounded mother issues are only healed when we become conscious of this process and we begin to work with it. Working with these energies for you, Aquarius moon sign people, means that your mode of download is 12th house energy. It's Capricorn. And so you download things in a very, not fastidious, but it's laborious, really. It's not maybe the easiest thing for you to do, to download intuition, because the tendency is to try to organize the information. See, you have Saturn as the ruler of Capricorn, which is your 12th house of your moon. And in Vedic astrology, Saturn rules Aquarius too. And so you experience these emotions in response to the intuitive download in a very Saturnal way. But you process them in a very Jupiterian way. By the time it gets to that, you're not in a state of the exaggerated or amplified Jupiter that we associate with this benefic aspect. You're more in a balancing mode of the strenuous kind of fastidious keeps coming up, and fastidious means, just really picky and really kind of nervous and anxiety ridden type of an energy. And I don't know that not you, all of you kind of feel that way emotionally and intuitively, but I guess since we're talking about Pisces new moon, there could be some of that, because for you, Pisces energy is how you process your emotions. Pisces is ruled by that Jupiter in the Vedic astrology. And so that's what we're talking about moon yogas. And the inner work that I do with Mama Drama Trauma, it is very effective in healing that bond. It's very effective in us really learning how to transition from the MDT identity of blame, shame, and guilt, which perpetuates it, into our divinity identity of accepting that we are dearly loved children of the great Mother, Father, God, who will never judge, condemned, or left alone. Vedic astrology is extremely important in that. And so I downloaded this Great Mother Speaks Oracle deck, and I've been working with it for several years. If you're the first time watching here, it's based on 49 scenes of The Wizard of Oz, because Dorothy is the poster child of MDT. She is an orphan who runs away from home because she feels misunderstood and uncared for. So it's not about blame, shame, and guilt. People love us the best that they can, including our mothers. So it's not about whether or not we're loved. It's about whether or not we feel loved. And so to heal that broken bond, that feeling of not being nurtured, that feeling of not being cared for, that feeling of not being loved, we have to connect to the mother of all mothers. And for you, your soul really wants you to take responsibility for your role in perpetuating MDT. So whether you are a parent or you are someone who is trying to help your parent, taking responsibility from a great mother perspective means taking care of yourself. So instead of trying to heal others at this particular time, this particular lunar phase, Aquarius moon sign people, that kind of hardened, kind of Saturn thing, of being responsible, and responsible particularly with Aquarius and feeling responsible for others, it's important that it takes a back seat. This is a gut chakra waning gibbous moon card. The gut chakra is ruled by Mars, which is in your 4th house right now. And so that is the house of the mother. That is the house of feeling grounded. It's the house of the motherland. It's the house of Earth Mother. So not feeling grounded, not feeling inside of your body, not feeling like you're okay, that you're safe, that you're cared for, that you're nurtured. Great Mother is coming through, and through your soul, the significator card is always the work the soul wants to do during this particular lunar phase, it's the Pisces new moon. It wants you to take responsibility for mothering yourself. Those feelings that you have, that this is something that you can take care of for yourself instead of projecting that need onto others. Okay, we can sometimes in our healing process, and it does help. We talk about Al-Anon and Al-Anon principles a lot with MDT. We can't control, we can't cure, and we did not cause MDT. Okay, that's what the blame, shame, and guilt is all about. And it's good to get out of ourselves when we're feeling that and help someone else and focus on helping other people. But for this new moon, Great Mother is saying it's time for you to take responsibility for your own feelings. What's bringing this up for you, however, and how you're feeling this from your soul is that it's being downloaded intuitively as you processing some emotions at this time having to do with your mother. Okay, and so there's something going on, a combative kind of a situation that's going on, maybe a standoff. This is 2nd house energy for you, this Pisces new moon, and so maybe there is a standoff or some competitive kind of thing going on, maybe some triggers going on for you or her in relationship to your values, to your principles around motherhood, okay, and how perhaps you believe your children need to be raised, how she thinks they need to be raised, your perspective on how you were raised, and trying to share with her what worked for you and what didn't, and her perspective of it. That's typical with Mama Drama Trauma. And Great Mother is saying, don't kind of, gloss over that, this moon phase. really look at that and see it for what it is so that you can feel what you feel. You haven't been fully feeling what you feel. You've been in kind of this state of pain avoidance, and it's important that you do that because K2 is in your 11th house, and that is your house of hidden gains. When we're talking about lunar energy, hidden gains invariably have to do with repetitive intuitive messages that have not been received. Repetitive intuitive messages that have not been received, particularly as it relates to transformation in your life, how you are transforming as a mother, how you are wanting maybe your mother to transform, how you are constricting your contact and interaction with her based on maybe some of this conflict. It's really important to look at this in relationship to the blessings that you're getting as a result, because that is a form of taking responsibility for your feelings. Okay, this is cutting off that blame, shame, and guilt for a minute to really look at the blessings that you're getting from this every mother card that's allowing you to process all this stuff that's going on within you. Processing is also a gut chakra card, and gut chakra is coming up. What you know in your gut, what you feel in your gut. Because what is in your shadow is root chakra energy. The seedling card is root chakra energy. It's the fear card. Kali is the Hindu goddess of fear. She transforms it, in fact. She dances it out of her entire energetic system, out of the cosmos, actually. She's the black blue goddess in the cosmos who dances the demons into oblivion. You gonna scare me? I'm gonna show you what scared is. This is in your shadow position. And so you're not scared. Most of you, this isn't something that you're afraid of doing. You're just processing the emotions. Root chakra is ruled by Saturn. That rules, your moon yogas, basically. And so if there is a fear, it's showing up as some very challenging emotional situations during the Sati, which is why people fear Sati. Saturn takes 2.5 years to transit a sign, so it just entered Sagittarius, and it's based on when Saturn transits your 12th, your 1st, and your 2nd house. Okay, you're not in Sati yet. You won't be in Sati until Saturn enters Capricorn, which would be in another year and a half. But I'm glad that I brought that up because you can prepare for it, and so we'll talk about that more in our readings. But for this Pisces new moon, which is the download moon, it is the moon to connect you to your highest self. That doesn't really change this reading so far at all. It just will change the intensity of the 11th house energy, which is where K2 is right now in relationship to your moon sign. So it'd be in your 12th house when your Sati comes. So we can save that for the future. But for right now, you do have Saturn in K2. And that is in your 11th house, conjunct Pluto, which is about this transformation. So transforming your relationship with your mother. Okay, constricting that eternal energy, your interaction with her, or the effects of the blame, shame, and guilt in your life at this time is really something that you're beginning to work with, and that I would encourage you, if you're not working with it, to work with it, so that when your Sati does come, when Saturn does enter Capricorn, you'll be prepared to receive the blessings of Saturn, as opposed to its very harsh reset process. Okay, Sati is just a reset button on reality, and that's why most people don't like it, because most of us don't like to live in reality. And speaking of such, Neptune is conjunct Mercury and Venus in your sign right now. So even though fear is in your shadow position, that's why many of you might not really even be scared in the sense of that. It's more like the Kali goddess energy. It's like you don't realize how powerful you are to overcome anything that you feel would intrude on your ability to take responsibility for the emotional processing that you're doing, feeling what you feel. not getting involved in pain avoidance through addictions, sex addiction, drug addiction, alcoholism, trying to numb the pain. There's no need for you to do that. There's no need for you to avoid it because you really don't have a lot of it. If you feel a pull towards that, that might be why that's in your shadow position. And that might be because you don't want other people to know that you are starting to take responsibility for your feelings. And that's change. That's transition. And again, you were preparing for Sati Sati. So invariably, there will be a reset in your life. And this is upsetting a lot of you. Rage is suppressed anger. The second card is when Dorothy is confronted by Miss Gulch at the farmhouse in an attempt to she takes Toto. And Aunt Em and Uncle Henry are powerless to do anything. In fact, Aunt Em says, Dorothy, we cannot go against the law. This Miss Gulch has gone and got a license from the sheriff to take the dog and whatnot. And we cannot go against the law. She has to take the dog. MDT is a contract. It is a soul contract between two souls to evolve in self-love and spiritual independence. And we can't go against it. It is what it is. And it is an experience from the ego perspective of abandonment and abuse, but from that soul contractual perspective in which a contract cannot be broken. This experience exists in order for me to evolve in self-love and spiritual independence. And that's what the imminent Sati Sati is going to bring to you in no uncertain terms. And what you want to do is you want to bring up that suppressed rage that you have about this MDT contract so that you can begin to accept the support that's available to you to process these emotions. And those are the angels. The angels are going to help you now and through and until the end of this. And healing MDT is a lifelong process. So including Sati Sati, they're going to assist you in living and loving detachment. Loving detachment is letting go of the mother that we want so we can accept the one that we have. So they're going to let you do that. They're going to not let you do that. They're going to assist you in doing that every step of the way. I want you to start Googling angel numbers. When you see them in license plates, when you see them on your watch, when you see them on receipts from the store or online purchases that really kind of get your attention, not just fastidiously again, okay? But I want you to start kind of feeling like this flow of energy, because that's what your lunar sign is. It is feeling in flow with things. And so for those of you who are not feeling that flow, just Google angel numbers, sacred scribes, and put in the number. And just keep that in your favorites and just always put those numbers in there and read what the angel message says for you. Or some of you who already do your angel numbers, start really paying attention to those numbers as it relates to the angels, particularly beginning this lunar cycle, because they never leave us. They're always with us. But this is in the position of the support that's available to you to take responsibility for your emotions at this time as they relate to mama, drama, trauma. There is some issues of fear, but those are simply related to the suppressed anger. Anger is a form of fear. Okay, it's a fear that you don't have what you need or you don't have enough. Okay, and so with MDT, we don't have the love that we need. We don't have enough nurturing. We don't have enough care. We don't have enough support. The angels remind us that we do. They remind us of the love that is always around us. It may not be in the form that we dictate, that we say that we need. We need our mother to be a certain way. That's why they help us to live in loving detachment. We detach from our definition of who she should be so that we can allow all of our relationships to be what they are, the reality of what they are. And that's what Sati Sati does. It gets us in touch with that reality. That's why people don't like Sati Sati, because she is who she is, and she's going to be who she is. And so letting go of that fantasy mother, the mother that we want, in order to accept the one that we have, releases us from all of this blame, shame, and guilt, and allows us to accept ourselves for who we are and experience the reality of our divinity, that we are truly love children of Great Mother Father God. We're never judged, condemned, and left alone. Now, the present state of your ego soul alignment is integrity. I mean, you are telling yourself the truth. That's why you're processing all these emotions. You are being very truthful with yourself about how you feel about this blame, shame, and guilt, and you are over it. I mean, 11th house is the house of hidden games, which is also where Jupiter is in at this time, which is amplifying all of this intuitive information, this repetitive intuitive information that's been unaccessed. Now with this Pisces new moon, let it come in, because you are aligned with it. Okay, this eternal grace and mercy, balsamic moon energy right before the new moon, you have allowed this in. But the 11th house is also the house that has to do with how we connect with the world and how those connections in these larger soul groups, be it fellow Aquarius moon sign people, or be it fellow astrologers, fellow life coaches, fellow mothers that you identify with, parents, fellow teachers, whatever, whoever you are, and wherever you're watching this, that's 11th house energy as well. And it's difficult for many people to connect with those groups. And I know that for me, with different communities, because my relationship with my mother was jacked up for so many years. I didn't trust anybody. And so I constantly created these experiences of shame, blame, and guilt. Banging heads, banging heads, banging heads. Until I just accepted it. And when I accepted it, I realized all of us are at fault. You know, all of us have areas, I should say, in which we will interact and not feel love that we need, not feel the nurturing that we need, not feel the support that we need. That's just kind of the way it is. But as long as I connect to that inner part of myself that is eternally full of grace and the mercy that I need to feel the level of love that I need right now in this moment, not this overall picture that I'm drawing in my mind, but that picture of Dorothy at the end when she says, there's no place like home, there's no place like home, nothing at home had changed. She was right back there with Aunt Em and Uncle Henry. And nothing changed. But she had woke up. She was woke then to the reality that in this moment, I'm cared for. I have what I need. And in this moment, I'm cared for. I have what I need. In this moment, it's me, it's from within me. And then all of a sudden, the importance that I have put upon others in this network of souls to fulfill this need of nurturing suddenly is diminished. And the power of the great mother energy within me, in my lunar yogas, grows for me to flow with that intuitive, that emotional relationship between my ascendant sign, that egoic sign, of how the sun expresses itself, and the sun itself, the soul. The soul downloads intuition to the ego, and the ego uploads to the soul its emotional state. And that intuitive download of integrity that you're feeling and that you're processing from this balsamic energy is all about the support from the angels helping you to process issues of fear and rage around MBT. Okay, this is how your soul is taking responsibility. This is the inner work rather that your soul wants to do. How it's taking this responsibility is by owning its beauty. You know, you're owning. It wants you to own the beauty of who you are. This self-acceptance and the beauty of who you are is very fastidious, very on point, very particular. That whole thing about Capricorn moon energy, how things have to be hard. That's how you filter intuitive information. But when you feel it, it might feel a little hard, which is why your soul wants you to look at the beautiful aspects of what you're feeling. You know, by looking at the reality of this suppressed anger in your soul contract, you see how powerful you really are. You don't have a lot of fears that a lot of other people would probably have associated with MBT. You have a loving heart. You can forgive. you can forgive. You have that power to do that. And why your soul wants you to take responsibility is that it wants you to feel that wild part of yourself. I know Aquarius in the Western astrology is ruled by Uranus, but it is ruled by Saturn and Vedic. But Uranus right now is in your third house of close relationships. And so how those close relationships are this new moon is really going to give you a clue as to what really needs to be communicated, throat chakra energy, to your mother about this conflict that you have, because our close relationships and our wider networks, again, are indicative of that foundational relationship with our mother. And those patterns that we see in terms of how people treat us is set up in how we interact with our mother. We vibe that whole thing from our mothers. And that's going to give you a clue as to why your soul wants to do this work. It wants to kind of while out, and it wants you to kind of, aggressively look at what's happening in your home environment, with your siblings, with your coworkers, and to see where you don't feel loved, where you don't feel nurtured, where you don't feel cared for. And that's going to give you the language. That fifth chakra energy, Mercury, is in your first house with Venus. And so you'll be able to communicate in beautiful ways. And Neptune, okay? We have a stellium there in Aquarius with these three signs. So that's really going to help you. And that's why your soul wants you to just kind of get wild with it, because you're going to get outside of that old conditioned pattern of MDT to look more at your divinity and embracing that aspect of you as opposed to the MDT one. And your final outcome is that Martian energy, that creative energy that has to do with that fourth house maternal energy, to recreate that sense of self-love for yourself by accepting how you feel. Self-acceptance, not avoiding the truth of your emotions. That's going to be your outcome by the full moon. It's happening on the 19th. By that time, Jupiter will be retrograde conjunct K2 in your 11th house. And so rethinking those larger patterns of how you connect with other people and making sense of that by the end of this lunar cycle in ways that you can return to, again, your native 11th house emotional energy in ways that resonate with you, make sense to you, and that continue to prepare you for the reset that's coming up when Sadi Saki comes in about a year and a half. So, you have some time, you have 18 months for that. Thank you so much for watching, sharing, and liking. But above all, and most of all, remember, Great Mother loves you, and I do too.
I am Great Mother, Holy Spirit, Yin, Divine Mother, Cosmic Womb, Deep Space, the Moon, Dark Matter, the Void, the Black Hole, Hathor, Isis, Diana, Mami Ishtar, Kali, Mammy, and Mother Mary.